ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Arrow Slingers. So the Premier League done and dusted. Well, the group phase of it anyway. Peter Wright is out. He didn't get through to the finals, and a bit of a shock to me. Joe Cullen got through. Not a shock that Joe Cullen got through, but I was shocked that Peter Wright dropped out. Joe Cullen, to get through, had to win every game last week. Had to win 2 this week, or had to win against Peter Wright, and did. So, well done to Joe. He held on to his spot. Michael Smith has had a brilliant month now. He's on an absolute tear. Got a night win, which is fantastic for him and fantastic for the PDC. They would have wanted everyone to have gotten a win just to make it seem like it's more even. He well deserved, though. He's probably one of those players that probably should have won one earlier, probably could have won a lot more than one, but regularly was on the end of brilliant performances. He beat Johnny Clayton to win, and that's always a fair effort. And, of course, Johnny Clayton getting there is pretty standard these days. We'll have a look at the final a tiny bit later on. We won't do too much tonight. We'll just have a bit of a yarn. Gary Anderson was very solid, which was good to see. He was working his way into form nicely with the World Cup. Whether or not he competes in that's a different story. World Series coming up and the World Match Play soon, so hopefully he continues that sort of form. He had 3 180s and 9 140s. He outscored Johnny Clayton in both of those categories, a 101 average to Gaz and a 94 to Johnny, but Johnny had the darts, so he was able to hold on and win that one, 6-5 I think it was, or 6-4, something like that. But it was a very, very, very good Gary Anderson. Very much his grouping was on song. His triple 20 hitting was outstanding. He missed a bull to get the 170 in leg 9, and that would have broken throw when they were on throw and made the whole match very interesting from there. So, Gary, looking good. Grouping back to being sensational. It was only a brilliant 1-2-6 finish from Johnny Clayton to break straight back in leg 5 or something along those lines. Just 9 points total for Gary for the whole Premier League. So, not brilliant by his enormous standards. It is what it is. Will we see Gary back in the Premier League? I don't know. Only he knows that, and only the guys picking the lineup know that, really. But it's a long way away from picking next year, so who knows? James Wade versus Gerwin Price. Not a great contest. A 91 average to Wade, 89 to Gerwin. Gerwin was able to get it done, though. Gerwin Price was 50% on his doubles, so it was all his scoring that let him down and had him in such a low average. Break a throw in the first leg pretty much set it up, and a 117 finish in leg 2 for Gerwin, and that was a 6-4 win and pretty straightforward stuff. James Wade ended up finishing third on the ladder after that, so Joe Cullen had to win the night after that Wade loss for him to steal third spot, but the players will tell you they don't care. They don't care where they finish, but with Michael Van Gerwen just coming out and announcing that he's got an injury that he's going to get operated on after finals night, when you come out like that, similar to what Gerwin Price did, so I just want to try and fix something up here. It's not all going to plan tonight. That's a green screen behind me, in case you were wondering. It's not actually the beach. It's just been a little bit temperamental. That'll do. That's as good as it's going to get tonight. So he's come out and announced he's got an injury. We saw it happen to Gerwin Price. He was just holding on, just going along. Announced that he had that broken hand, and he sort of fell off the wagon a little bit after that. You saw it then swelling up big time. And he just had a couple of weeks of struggle to Gerwin Price. So hopefully that doesn't happen to MVG after coming out and saying he's got an injury and he's nursing it. But we'll see. He's got 3 weeks until finals, which we'll have a bit of a discussion about shortly. You don't want to be playing either of Michael Van... If you had to pick between Michael Van Gerwen and Johnny Clayton, you wouldn't pick either until now that injury has been announced. They're both... James Wade's probably chomping at the bit to get a go at Van Gerwen and not Johnny Clayton, to be honest. So James Wade, third. Gerwin Price dropped all the way down to 7th, I think. Yeah, 7th. So with Michael Smith winning. And like the week before, after he won his second night, he was in line to take on the final spot. But it just fell apart at the end there. Joe Cullen took it. Bully Boy, Michael Smith, he beat Michael Van Gerwen 6-4 in a decent contest. Both in the mid-90s. It was tense, and it has been between those two, so sometimes they'll both turn up. It'll be a tense, exciting, high-quality match, and then there was last week where it was bits of high quality, bits of double missing, bits of iffiness, bits of brilliance, but it was tense, and it's always tense between these two. Michael Van Gerwen finished second, and it's just the second time in total that he hasn't finished top of the league. There was a year Glenn Durrett finished top, and Michael Van Gerwen didn't even make the playoffs. I think that was 2020. Michael Van Gerwen second place, and that'll bother him, but that's what pros do. They want to be the best all the time. Joe Cullen beat Peter Wright. This was the quarterfinal we're looking forward to. Booked his spot on finals night. It was on throw at 4-4. Joe holds his throw and then breaks, so it was looking pretty tense for a bit. But he's starting to look better and better, Joe Cullen. He's starting to get his finishing on. I think he was 5 out of 6 of... hang on. Got the answer. He was... 7 out of 6 on his doubles, and 5 of those doubles were at double 16, and he hit all 5 on double 16. So he was 100% on double 16 in that match, and that sort of continued. But his finishing's next level. The finishing by both was next level, so it was 85% doubles to Joe Cullen and 80% to Peter. Peter will be disappointed with that Premier League campaign. I've said it at the start of the Premier League when we did our preview. It hasn't been a happy hunting ground for Peter Wright, and he'll be pretty disappointed with that performance. I don't think he will be too happy, but that's what happens. He was just coasting. I thought he was for sure going to get through and get the job done, but he just didn't. So he's dropped down to 5th after that. So, he'll be just absolutely devastated after dominating night one. It's sort of just been a coasting effort, and he didn't coast through to the finals. So, and that's what they all want to do. He was hoping to get through to finals night and then make a stand from there. All right, semi-finals, Bully Boy versus Gerwin Price. It was a 6-3 win to Bully Boy, and a very below par performance from Gerwin Price. An 88 average with 75% on his double. So once again, his scoring is letting him down at the moment. 3 180s to Gerwin, just 1 to Bully Boy. 8 140s to Michael Smith. That's where he got him. Just 1 to Gerwin Price. Gerwin ended in 7th position. 7th, with Bully Boy winning. He hated that format. Gerwin Price, he's put it out a lot on social media and all the interviews he's done, that he just did not like that format. It was draining. It was worn out and just didn't work, he felt like, which is a very strange concept because all the players, the thing is, it's a mini tournament in one night. It's draining and wears him out. He likes the old style, but most tournaments that professional darts players will play would be very similar. So the Players' Championships has played 128-man tournament played in one day. And this is a 8-man tournament played in one day. The Players' Championship events are 1st to 6, so is the Premier League. The only difference being the semis at the Players' Championships is 1st to 7, and the final is 1st to 8. That doesn't happen at the Premier League at the moment. It's all 1st to 6. The European Tour events are very similar, so you've got round 1 and round 2, I think, are played on day 1. No, round 1... Sorry, I'll get this right. Round 1's played... The European Tour's played across 3 days. Round 1's played on day 1 because there's quite a lot of matches. I think rounds 2 and 3 are played the next day, and the last day is for the quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals. So it's all very similar to what they do anyway. Very few tournaments. It just happens that they're the biggest tournaments. So Grand Slam, the semi-finals and finals are played on the same day. The Grand Prix, I think the final has its own day. World Championships has its own day. Match play, I'm pretty sure, has its own day, or it may be semis in the afternoon, final at night. I'll double check that and confirm. But so most of the big tournaments are the only ones with a big, nice gap. All the other tournaments... Oh, sorry, guys. All the other tournaments are played quickly, so the smaller ones. So there's 30 players championship events. The UK Open's played in a similar style. A lot of the last matches are focused into the one day. So it's strange to say that. You may not like it, but it's what you should be used to. So there's not much I dislike going on, but I don't agree with that opinion. I'm not a huge fan of that format anyway, but to say that it's because it's draining and it's worn out and it's long and it's dreary, that's what all the darts tournaments are like. So strange. Just come out and say you don't like it, you hate it, and you prefer the other one. You don't even have to have a reason. I don't have a huge reason other than I've said before. I like that building of suspense. I don't like to have a conclusion every night. I want everyone to get up, go do their job, throw their darts, get off the stage, come back for finals night. Because at the end of the day, that's what they're all there for. The 10 grand didn't really do much for anyone. Gary Anderson looked like it was just go up there and throw some darts. He didn't care about the 10 grand. Go and Price, especially towards the end, didn't care about the 10 grand. Peter Wright didn't really seem to be phased too much. It was just about playing darts and tinkering with his equipment and setup and getting it right. So it's hard to say that the 10 grand cash prize at the end of each night made it matter. And Gary Anderson was well and truly out of the running early on. So did that concept work? I don't think so. But anyway, Johnny beats Joe Cullen 6-4 to make his ninth final. So out of 16 nights, I think it's been 16. There's a total of 17. They're counting the 17th week as finals night. He's made 9 finals, so that's over half. Joe broke early on, but you're never safe against Johnny Clayton. 4-180s to 1 in favour of Johnny. Joe's doubling had been around 80% for the night, and it was just 40% against Johnny. So if you can't maintain that, which it's hard to maintain a doubling percentage of 80, then you're going to struggle. But it ended up 6-4 to Johnny Clayton. The final, Bully Boy was outstanding, scoring so good at the moment. He's finishing excellent, 66.67%. And I keep saying and I keep thinking, and I'm of the belief that once he starts finishing well, he's unbeatable and looks world champion-like, unstoppable almost, because his scoring is so good. It's just his doubles are so inconsistent. So 1 week he'll be 60, one game he'll be 60%. Then he's down well below 30. Well below 30 is something that's where someone around my ability throws doubles at. So if he can consistently have that around 40 and higher, then he's going to be a multiple major winner and multiple world champion. But that's what happens. He got to 4-0, and then he only had one dart at double Johnny Clayton in that 4-0 spell. So, and that was at the bullseye. So well done to Bully Boy. He really shut Johnny down early. Johnny got it back to 4-3, but from there it was all Michael Smith. He won the next 2 legs to wrap it up with a 112 peg to finish it all off. So well done again to Bully Boy, finally getting a win on the board. So 3 weeks or so until the final. So we had a quick chat there about the format and what's the go there. So before finals night comes out, we'll do a bit of a preview of finals night. And what I'm going to do is go through, look at all the quarterfinals and see what the difference between the ladder would be if, as it is, and what the ladder would look like if you go through just the quarterfinal, because that's all you would play. And we'll see the difference there. I think you're not going to see too much difference. I think maybe Joe Cullen would be lower because a lot of his nights where he's done well, he is just... Sorry, what I'm trying to say is he's won group games in patches and in clumps. So he's had a final, nothing. A final, nothing. A semi-final here or there where he didn't even have to play and actually performed pretty poorly after that. So I'm going to do that and see what the difference in the ladder would have been. So the other strange thing happening is the delay now. So there's now a 3-week gap between finals night and night 16. I think it's about 3 weeks. And it's played on a Monday night. So much different to what we're used to. on the Premier League. So I don't have Premier League to watch this weekend as much as the US Darts Masters is going to be exciting. It's going to be excellent. It's the start of the World Series. We'll get into that soon. But now it's 3 weeks of nothingness, and then it's on a Monday night, which is Tuesday morning for me, which is busy time. So it's going to be a struggle to watch it all and keep up to it, but I'll do my best. I'll make it happen. But the biggest thing is that time of 3 weeks, so much can change. How bad is Michael Van Gerwen's injury going to be weighing on his mind? What form is Joe Cullen going to be in 3 weeks? So I don't think there's much happening on the floor in the next 3 weeks because you got the US Darts Masters. They're all gearing up for the World Cup as well. I'll double check that shortly. What I'll try and do is double check it while we are speaking, and I'll come back to you. But yeah, so that's 3 weeks of form that you can go from big to little, big to little, big to little. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the calendar up to see what else is. Michael Smith has got a ridiculous amount of time. I heard something the other day of how much darts he's playing, and he's not going to have time to do anything. I think he'll probably sit out a Euro Tour now that he's won one. So I've got it up here now. I won't show you. I'll just tell you what it is. So you got the US Darts Masters coming up this weekend. Nothing there. So then the Nordic Darts Masters, which I believe is also part of the World Series, on the 10th till the 11th, and then the 13th of June. So it's just over 2.5 weeks from the last one to the next one. That's a lot, and there's nothing else in between unless it's the 8 players going over to compete. And if we have a look at the players, I think all the 4 finalists are playing. So you got Johnny, MVG, Wade, and Cullen. I don't know if Cullen's in there, so we'll have a look at that. So that could be huge for Joe Cullen if he's not over there at the US Darts Masters or the Nordic Darts Masters, because there's nothing else happening in between. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to get some stats. I should really do this beforehand. All right, so I'll be able to bring up the page of all of them. So we'll go through for sure what's happening later. So the US Darts Masters, you've got Peter Wright, Gerwyn Price, Michael Van Gerwen, Fallon Sherrick, James Wade, Michael Smith, Gary Anderson, and Johnny Clayton. So Joe Cullen not competing. Nordic Darts Masters, which is on the 10th of the 11th, so that is the weekend before the finals of the Premier League. Peter Wright, Gerwyn Price, Michael Van Gerwen, Fallon Sherrick, James Wade, Michael Smith, Gary Anderson, Dimitri Vandenberg, so no Johnny Clayton there. So Johnny Clayton's only playing at the US Darts Masters, Joe Cullen at neither. That could be huge to have no major competitive darts, because as we said, if you got the calendar, PDC calendar again, I've gotten rid of that, because that's important to what we're discussing here. I know I'm rambling on a bit, but this is important to how the world of darts is. Yep, so nothing. Windmill Development Tour, 3rd of June. US Darts Masters 3rd and 4th. Women Development Tour 4th. North American Championships, that's something different to that. Windmill Development Tour. And then Nordic Darts Masters, then Kazoo Premier League playoffs. So that's right. I'm right. Let's get you back up for where I can see her. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about now, is that Joe Cullen has no competitive darts now between now and the playoffs of the Premier League. So that's a huge advantage to James Wade, Johnny Clayton, and Michael Van Gerwen. Not so much Johnny Clayton because he's only playing in one of them. Form can swing and sway so quick. So as I said, how bad is Michael Van Gerwen's injury going to get to him? How much does that get to his head? What kind of form is Joe Cullen going to find himself in? Will James Wade be burnt out from travelling from the US to the Nordic Darts Masters? Who knows? That's going to be absolutely crucial to what happens in 3 weeks' time. I guarantee you. It's not just a matter of roll up and it's back to what the Premier League was. Johnny Clayton may find an absolute hole and be out of form. He may fire up and be absolutely flying. So strange, but we'll see. So as we said, Michael van Gerwen due to have surgery after Premier League finals night. Should be ready for the match play, but that's going to be a big if because you never know how. Sorry, I got a wet whistle. You never know how surgery is going to go, what that's going to do to you. Hopefully he'll be right. For the match play, he'll miss Players Championship 16 and 17. He'll obviously get the US Darts Masters and the Nordic Darts Masters out of the way. Hopefully he'll be right for the Australian, the Townsville and the Wollongong events, which while we're there, we'll confirm, because they hadn't confirmed two of the Dutch Darts Masters, Queensland. They hadn't confirmed that. Oh no, they still haven't confirmed. I thought they did, but I think Johnny Clayton is heading down under for the Australian leg of the World Series. I should be able to find that news for us shortly. But yeah, so with Michael van Gerwen not playing, he won't be at the World Cup, is what we're saying. He won't be at the World Cup. So that means that Dirk van Duijvenbode and Danny Noppert will represent Netherlands. Great for them to represent, but I don't see Netherlands winning it now. So I've had a chat with a mate about a few different lineups and teams, and I don't see England and I don't see the Netherlands winning it now. So Scotland, Australia, Northern Ireland, always a chance with Gurney and Dolan. And I think, Australia, massive chance this time around. So that's looking good. So what I can see here, back to what we were talking about before, Johnny Clayton and Joe Cullen have been confirmed as the final two PDC players for the World Series darts treble header in Australia and New Zealand. So Peter Wright, Gerwyn Price, Michael van Gerwen, James Wade, Michael Smith, Fallon Sherrick, Joe Cullen and Johnny Clayton coming down under. I was kind of hoping that Gary Anderson would be, but he's not. But we'll take those stars any day of the week. All right, so we had the 8th European Tour event, the Dutch Darts Championship. Bully Boy took that out. He was outstanding there. Looked amazing all weekend, so continued his form from his stunning Premier League efforts on Thursday night right through to Saturday, Sunday. I don't think he played in the first round, so he almost looked unbeatable at times, and that was evident with his 110 average against Damon Hedder, twice on a 9 darter after 2 visits, so 6 perfect darts. I think one of those goes he had 7 perfect darts. It's the only way to beat Damon Hedder at the moment is to play ridiculous darts like that. And he beat Danny Noppert 8-7 in the final, did Michael Smith. A bit of revenge there for the UK Open. It's not quite the same as the UK Open, but still some good revenge. It was a great game of darts. Danny Noppert was waiting on 132 in the final leg decider, and Bully Boy took out a 104 finish. So pressure stuff by both, and well done to Bully Boy. So 2 Euro Tour titles, 2 Players Championship events, a Premier League night. It's been a good month for Michael Smith. He just looks at ease at the moment. As we said before, when he doubles well, he is World Championship quality. So when he played the way he did at the Worlds, he was just as good as Peter Wright throughout the whole tournament. And it was really just an absolute blistering spell from Peter Wright that denied him a World Championship. From there, you thought he's going to absolutely tear it apart this year. He was going to dominate. He didn't do well on the floor to start with. His Premier League start wasn't great. He was performing okay, but wasn't getting results. Then he had a pretty good run at the Masters. He had a brilliant run at the UK Open. And now he's starting to put it all together with 2 Euro Tours, 2 Players Championship events, a Premier League, finally a Premier League night win. So look out. I think he's about to really get going. And if I go back to the calendar, we'll get that back up again and just give an example of what some of the players are likely to face. So because he is an absolute star, he's young, he's an absolute gun, we love him. So his next few weeks look like this. He's in New York on the 3rd or the 4th. Then he's flying over to the Nordic Darts Masters. He's not in the Premier League Championships. He probably plays at Players Championship 16 and 17. So Nordic Darts Masters next weekend. So you got this weekend coming up, the US. Nordic Darts Masters the following weekend. Players Championships midweek that week. World Cup of Darts the weekend after, which he'll be a part of. The Dutch Darts Masters, which is part of the World Series, which is the next weekend in June. So he's full on every weekend, and that's in Amsterdam. The Dutch Darts Masters, the World Cup's in Frankfurt. So he's flying all over the world before he then has another European tour, which he'll probably sit out because he's won one, so he would have qualified for the European Championships. Then you've got Players' Championship 19 and 20 back in England before the World Match Play at the end of July. And then in August, heading over to Australia after 3 Players' Championship events. So a full-on few months for Michael Smith. But he's that kind of player. So some players, like Gary Anderson, are gifted. And Gary Anderson would practice. He says he doesn't practice anymore. Probably doesn't, but to grab your first set of darts, throw 140, 180, ridiculous. Michael Smith, yes, he's talented. He's naturally gifted, but he works his backside off. So hopefully being as much as he practices, so say he practices 6 hours a day, 6 of those hours for the next few months, half the time it's going to be on the big stage. I think it's only going to set him up for an absolute breakout and potentially I'm going to call it early and go a world championship at the end of the year. I really do think he's in the running to take that out. I'd say, yeah, Michael Smith would be disappointed that he hadn't done more in the first 2-3 months of the year, but he's now starting to really build and looking amazing. He would be disappointed that he didn't get that UK Open under his belt and disappointed that he didn't get a crack at the Premier League. Didn't finish far off, but didn't finish in there. So he'll be disappointed. All right, so Damon Hedder, he lost that belter of a match to Michael Smith. I think it was like 7-4 in the end. So it was really a bit of the scoreline doesn't suggest how close it was because Damo was in it. It was just Michael Smith was far too good. It was well below par though. Damon Hedder in his round 2, so his first match against Scott Waits, just an 85 average after averaging. He followed that up with 100 against Bully Boy, but got the job done against Scott Waits. So another win for Damon. We just keep adding them up. But yeah. The story of the weekend was absolutely well and truly the Wizard Simon Whitlock, though. Looked absolutely amazing. He had a 99 average in round 1 win over Jamie Hughes. His first 9 was ridiculous. It was all weekend, but this one, it was at one stage, it was about 135. I think it dropped to about 130 for the match. 5 180s, couple of 12 dart legs, 13 in there. He then took on Joe Cullen, who's looked sensational of late, and 97 average against Joe Cullen, a 6-5 win. Another 5 180s, a tense final leg though. It was a 19 dart hold of throw to win. And yeah, just looked amazing. His stats dropped against Daniel Larson. Still 4 180s, but only an 88 average. And a bit of double trouble early on. But the highlight of the entire weekend, it's gone viral. I've even tried to look on YouTube. There's bugger all videos of people actually doing this in the PDC. But he had a 150 finish, bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. Normally, most finishes besides that one, you go on YouTube and you can find a compilation of players doing a 170, a 161, a 17, sorry, not a 17, a 167. There's compilations of it. There's people doing it all the time. 132s, 135s, all those party shots. You can't find people doing the 50, 50, 50, the bullseye, 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 because it just doesn't happen. So he threw one at the bullseye, probably thinking if I get a 25, I can try and set something up from there. Or if I get a bull, try and set something else up from there, because he was a fair way ahead and he was 5-1 up in the match. But it sat so perfectly that he just pounded in the other two. So absolutely brilliant. And it was, so a great weekend. He then got knocked out by Callan Ridds in the quarterfinals. But hopefully from there, that keeps lifting him up and he will make the European Tour Championships, because he does his best work there. And just having to think over the weekend after watching him play so well as to how amazing Simon Whitlock's been. Like, he's just been our number one guy. He's our best darts player ever to come from Australia. He's been a World Championship finalist. That was in 2010, so 12 years ago. I think 2008, if I'm not mistaken, Mark Webster won the Lakeside World Championships with Simon Whitlock being his opponent there. So outstanding. And he's won I think he may have won the Oceanic in 2002 or won one or two big Australian tournaments in 2002. 72 European Tour events. So all those European Tour events that we talk about that build up to the European Championships, which is another major of the PDC. He's played at 72 of them, and it won't be long before, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he probably won't overtake, because I think it's maybe Van Gerwen with the most. And he's just loved everywhere he goes for that. He's just a lovable character. He never really goes at the crowd, never really gets stuck into them. Always got a smile on his face, just loves darts. He's iconic with his beard and his ponytail. And yeah, absolutely loved. As I've done a Bix Top 3, which has been on hiatus for a while. Go back and look at it. It would be in one of the earlier episodes. And it's on the spine-tingling walk-ons. And Simon Whitlock's is an absolutely outstanding one. It's fantastic. At the 2010 Premier League, his debut, it just goes nuts. And this is how much he loves darts, just as much as we love him as a darts player. He played at a Players' Championship event probably 2 months ago. It was on the Sunday, and he got knocked out early on. I think it was round 1 or 2. He went straight out and went home early, got himself cleaned up, 2-hour drive home to North Hampshire, I think he lives in, and played in a local comp that afternoon in his pub. That is how much he loves darts. It's sensational. You cannot top things like that. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to see. And if they all did it, it'd be fantastic. I think a fair few of them do over in England, but you just don't see that sort of stuff here too much. But yeah, the Wizard, bit of Wizard love there, and I can't wait to watch what he does the rest of the year. It's going to be phenomenal. The World Cup's going to be phenomenal. We're going to have a proper look at that later on when it comes around, and we get some confirmed lineups for all the teams. All right, so the World Series kicks off. This was more of not a gimmicky concept, but to start off with, it was just to have tournaments around the globe. I don't even think they had a finals night style setup back in the day, but now they do. So you've got the Nordic Darts Masters, the US Darts Masters, Townsville, Wollongong, New Zealand, and I think it is the Dutch Darts Masters in the Netherlands. That may be it. I'm pretty sure. So 6 events. It works similar to an order of merit. So having the local guys in Australia. So there should be two in Australia, 1 in New Zealand. But each event, so the New Zealand one's going to have 4 Aussies. Sorry, the one in New Zealand's going to have 4 Kiwi qualifiers, 1 Australian qualifier, and our 3 PDC Aussies. So a good chance for them to get some points. Those 3 Aussies are going to be in both Townsville and Wollongong, so more chances for them to get a win on the board. So that's Gordon Mathers, Damien Hedder, and Simon Whitlock. So hopefully they probably only need to get 1 and they're in. And then over in Australia, you've got 1 New Zealand spot. So there's a potential for one of the New Zealanders to play in all 3. 1 Australian can go over to the New Zealand as a qualifier as well. So there's a chance for an Australian to play in all 3 there as well. And there's going to be 4 Aussies in the Australian one. So plenty of chances for our guys to get some points on the board and see themselves at the finals in Vienna, I think it is. So 8 pros versus 8 challenges is the setup for all these events. As I said, I think it started off as a bit of a gimmick to spread the word, but now it's a full-on big event with finals, and all those challengers get a chance to go over and have a crack. And where are we? Yep, having 2, plenty of chances for Australia. The US one, there's no challengers will win this one. It'll just be all the pros getting through. So the pros go up against the challenger. There's no challenge drawn out of a hat, and a challenger ends up against the challenger. Maybe Danny Lauby is a chance to have a win, but I don't think so. And I'm tipping Gerwin Price to have a win, and I think he needs it. And after the spat with the Premier League, I think he'll come out and prove a point just to say, hey, I don't just dislike things like that. I just didn't like the Premier League. Because, with the very similar setup this tournament, so there'll be round 1 will be on one day, and then it'll be quarters, semis, so no. 8 goes into 4 into 2, yeah. Semis and finals will be on one night, I think. I think I'm all over the place with that. Yeah, no, that should be right. 16, 8, 2, 14. 16, 8, 14. Yeah, so quarters, semis, and final will be on one night. The first round will be on the first night with all 16 players, and the next day you'll have quarterfinals, semis, and final on one day. So get used to that, Gerwin. That's going to be how they're all played and how a lot of stuff is played. So that'll just about wrap us up for tonight. We've gone 35 minutes again. We've got a tiny bit of a break. We'll have a quick chat next week about the US Darts Masters, but we'll get some other stuff happening at the same time. Enjoy the World Series kicking off. That means that they're close to coming to Australia. With the Premier League wrapping up, that means we're very close to the World Cup and the World Match Play. Oh, darts is coming our way.